So finally, we get a rape scene. But it's not really rape, is it? V, who is Isabel's sister, consents to sex with the Nazi officer that had forcibly moved in with her. So she consents to sex just so that she can keep some Jew boy from getting deported. It's not even her son, it's her friend's son. Her husband is away in a concentration camp, you know. If that was my wife, I'd be livid.
Yeah.
Imagine that's your wife.
He's getting shelled on.
Imagine that's your wife and you're going back in there after that 6'4" German soldier just destroyed the goods.
Gave it a Frankfurt. That's what you want.
I'm telling you, you ain't going to be able to feel nothing after that.
Christ, literally.
My question is, though, if writers are going to do rape scenes, why can't they be creative? Why couldn't V be like, whoa, I thought I didn't want it, but he knows exactly what he's doing? Why can't they enjoy it or even feel shame that they enjoy it? Why do we have to be boring?
It's not. It's to be fair, I've seen similar things to what you're saying. Especially the second part, I've seen similar things. It doesn't
shame,
really.
Shame.
Yeah, it's actually a shame that you enjoyed it. It doesn't really play, or it didn't really play on my mind as what I expected it to play on my mind with. I think it's much more impactful if it's traumatic for the main character, because then we can kind of take part in the trauma.
I guess,
and I feel like that's much more impactful than what you're saying.
But if you want trauma, this wasn't it, because she was let's say she was raped, but she still gave her consent at the same time.
I personally think that is, if he had said like, yeah, take your clothes off, that's rape by, duress. He's putting it under duress. Do you see what I'm saying? But for him to, this is quid pro quo, favour for favour. Do you see what I'm saying? That's not rape.
Exactly what it was. But at the same time, she did know that she had to give it up.
She did know she had to give it up. Somewhere along the line, she was gonna have to give it up, but there just wasn't at that bit yet. Because she was like, if she didn't need this Jew boy, he could have just been like,
did she cheat on Did she cheat on her husband then?
Bro, it's wartime. Wartime's wartime.
Did she cheat on her husband or not?
I mean, figuratively, yeah. Like, so by the letter of the law, by the letter of marriage, yeah. By the letter of the contract, because let's not forget, marriage is a contract.
So she wasn't raped then, is what you're saying?
No, I don't think that is not rape. That's not what I'm saying. But in that situation, from this guy came to the house, we knew.
Yeah.
We already know. Listen, you think 4 years of Nazi occupation in Paris, you're giving this up.
Anyway, she ends up getting pregnant for the Nazi. And luckily for her, her husband comes home from the concentration camp. So obviously she decides to pretend to her husband that he got her pregnant.
Yeah.
Is that the right decision?
Nah, of course not.
Definitely not.
Definitely not.
I think it is.
Are you silly?
I think it is. Because I couldn't hear that.
Don't be silly.
I could not hear that. Would kill, hearing that from my wife would kill me.
Of course.
Everybody in the house would be dead.
Of course. But at the end of the day, bro, when little,
well, let's just say...
When little Stefan is 7 years old, he's got blonde eyes, blonde hair and blue eyes.
But let's assume that the baby would have had the same hair colour as the man.
Right, and let's say she gets away with it.
Yeah. Then he's
Do you know what I mean? Then well, look, that's now we're talking about... It's better to not know, but at the same time, it's not better to not tell. Do you know what I mean?
No.
It's better for him to not know. She spared herself. She didn't spare him.
It's better for him. Well, yeah. Well, no, because she did try and tell him. And he said, look, whatever's happened...
Oh, yeah. But that's him trying to spare himself too.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So he would rather not know in that situation. But at the end of the day, like, bro, listen, war is war. Like, I know this guy.
I know what I'd be doing. In times when
times are tough, when the well runs dry, I know I'd be doing.
The well doesn't run dry in wartime.
Yeah, you don't run dry in wartime. You take that town, there's only women there. Do you know what I mean? The sergeant's not back yet.
The sergeant's getting his first.
Sergeant's with us. Yeah, 100%.
Sergeant's getting his first.
He's picked the baddest bitch for himself. Yeah, picked the baddest bitch for himself.
But yeah, pause this video. Go and read The Nightingale by
Kristen Hannah. And when you've read it, you can join us for the discussion.
Or you can join us anyway, because we're going to tell you all about it. My name's Elijah.
I'm Joseph, and welcome to the Asher Library.
That was not a good time to take a sip of drink, was it?
I didn't expect you to get it right. I expected you to start as you normally did.
You mean like you just was?
Nah, I almost started, but I didn't.
So, initially, I like what I'm reading. The author's doing a good job of making me dread the coming of the Nazis, as if I was there. Yeah. So, in the beginning, they were basically... I think they were watching the news and they were saying, the Nazis are taking over this one and they're coming towards France. And it seemed like...
And it definitely got you feeling the suspense that they may have been feeling. A shadow of it, at least, of what they may have been feeling. And it was really like... It's super scary shit, man. World War II is scary shit because... obviously, in terms of how long it lasted 5 years, but they said there was 9 million... there was 30 million casualties in World War One, 60 million casualties in World War Two. So it's like we've upped the ante. Do you know what I mean? And we haven't even gotten to the deaths yet.
Exactly.
All we've just done is seeing, you know, the Nazis take country after country, but they definitely did a good job of getting us to feel the suspense that people from the Parisians probably were feeling. You know, waking up every day. People are talking about war because they said in the beginning, V, the main character, she was like everyone's talking
V
about
was
war.
the main character, though.
Well, she was.
That's what I was meant to ask you as well. Remind me. I want to speak about the time skipping. What you thought about that?
Yeah, well, I'm about
If you liked it,
that's
or,
like
you're
my
gonna
first point.
All right, but I want
to
to say my first point anyway.
Go on.
And then you go. Isabel, who is our main character, is not like other girls of her generation.
Of course.
She doesn't fit in anywhere. She's been kicked out of multiple boarding schools for various reasons, and not because she's unintelligent. It's mostly because she has no interest in becoming a lady, and partly because she believes she's destined for more. For some reason, she's hell-bent on becoming a war hero. Yawn. What is wrong with these women? If my job was to stay in the kitchen or to look after children and not go in the trenches, I wouldn't complain. Both jobs are extremely important, and one cannot work without the other.
100%.
Why is it that women are never happy?
Well, funnily enough, this is gonna tie into like the other one because of, you know, the sexualization of males. They feel like the only way to be valuable is to do what we're doing. Do you know what I mean? So it's like they don't even believe in the value of femininity themselves, and they're getting onto me for not believing in it. It's ridiculous, but yeah, they don't see the value in like what they're doing. Like at the end of the day, someone has to raise the children. That's the next generation.
Whitney Houston said what?
Whitney Houston said, "I believe children are the what? Future." As in, without children, we have no future. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, it's all well and good having a job now, making money now, and that, obviously that is also the other side of the coin. That's important. But like I said, the ant colony is one of the best ecosystems in the world. Not because everyone does what they want to do, you know.
Yeah.
If they say you're the door today, you're the door. That's it. You're the drone. You're the drone. So yeah, nice. They really do need to. But yo, back to your point. Yeah, 100. Oh, listen, if I'm staying at home, you will never see me complain. You'll never.
Exactly.
You will hear a word out of my mouth.
I'd shut up.
I literally.
I wouldn't say I'm too tired when you come home.
Do you know what I
either.
mean? Like, come on. Dinner, dede.
You'd give that blowjob, wouldn't you?
I said, wouldn't you?
That hooked her. Spit on that thing.
She's a disgrace, though. That one's a disgrace. Yeah, our main character is an old woman whose name we don't know. What we do know is that she's dying. Her son Julian, who is a doctor, is trying to make her comfortable and claims that she will beat her cancer for the third time. Although the old woman inwardly meets this with cynicism, she begins to reminisce about Paris in 1939 and her time during the war. So I don't know if I'm a huge fan of the whole 40 years earlier thing. I don't know if I'm a huge fan.
No, you hate it. You hate it. You've always said
It's
you
not
hate it.
really.
You specifically said, oh, when they say 40 years, well, no, you say 5 years before, yeah, that's pointless. But in this case, I think it was done well. Maybe it's not an original, okay.
Done as well as it could have been done, maybe. I think that's...
Yeah,
say that.
because we didn't know who it was. Did you think it was Isabel? Because I thought,
I'm not gonna lie, halfway through the book I forgot that the old woman was even...
Oh yeah, because she wasn't in it much, and I think it was the perfect amount anyway, because we don't want to take away from the story.
Yeah, we definitely don't.
But we didn't know...
Sorry, go on.
We didn't know who it was. We were thinking, is it Isabel? Is it V?
Yeah,
you know?
we didn't know.
And then also, the son, we were thinking, is that... When it come down to it, it was like, who is the son? You know, did Isabel have a child? Was it Daniel? Is it someone else? You know,
100%.
that's so.
I thought it was interesting because it's like when you have the whole 40 years earlier in the thing, and then you have, especially in these war stories as well, because when it's like, it's kind of like Assassin's Creed, the game. You know, you play Assassin's Creed, and then you have the whole Animus bit, and you have the whole, and you're just thinking, do you know what's funny? Do you know what would make this game 1,000 times better? This great game, if we just cut that shit out and just had, you know, the back in the day bit.
Okay.
So if we just cut that shit out and had the war bit, I'm just thinking, how would that not enhance this story?
It didn't add anything to the. It did, but it didn't.
It added something, but it's like what it did add, I didn't care for.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I was just like, if it didn't have this, I really wouldn't mark this story down for not having something like that. It'd be very difficult to mark it down for what it doesn't have, because you would need to have an idea of what it doesn't have.
Yeah.
But in retrospectively, as they always say in hindsight's 2020.
So if you was the editor, would you cut it out or would you leave it? Because I wouldn't cut it out. I would cut it out.
I would cut it out.
It takes away from the story. Because I liked it.
So
I
what?
like the
Do
mystery.
editors like say we only cut things out if it takes away from the story?
No, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying I was just asking.
So yeah, on the basis of I just don't feel like it added anything that I cared about, and maybe that's personal preference, or maybe retrospectively I wouldn't cut it out because it's personal preference, and like maybe people do enjoy that sort of thing. I mean, it's popular for a reason, you know what I mean? It's a cliche for a reason. Cliches are cliches for a reason, but I like my stories to start where they start and end where they end. Like, why are we doing this 40 years? 40 years early? I thought you was the main character. What do you mean? I was getting ready to see what like shit your doctor was gonna do. The doctor was gonna do the son,
which we never
and they're
found
telling
out.
me about 4 years. Oh, okay. So I'm reading the World War II book. That's fine. I love World War II books. That's absolutely fine.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's literally just like, you know, I'm not impressed by the whole 40 years earlier thing. I roll my eyes. Do you know what I mean? Because I'm like, you're trying to impress me, aren't you?
Is it my turn or is it your turn?
Yeah, go on.
Is it my turn? You sure?
Yeah.
So there's a scene after she gets kicked out of the latest school where she has to go home and live with her father. Immediately the Germans storm the city, which means she has to flee. On her travels, she meets a young man. Now anybody could see that you couldn't trust him as far as you can throw him. Can you imagine? Even after he says things like, I could have you in my bed if I wanted, this was within their first conversation.
Yeah,
She immediately befriends him.
Come on, man.
Isabel. They realise that they're heading in the same sort of direction to meet their respective family members. Anyway, a few days into their travels, one night, they are looking up at the stars and Isabel confesses to him that she wants to go to war. She believes that she's not useless and she's capable despite having no skills.
Yeah.
Anyway, he being a man and he knows how to hunt and shoot, he says that he will teach her and they can go to war together. She is delighted by this prospect and doesn't even flinch when her companion friend says, let's seal the deal with a kiss. Now I can't say this for certain, but I am sure he isn't sealing deals with men with kiss
Do you know
by
what I
kissing
mean? Like, come on.
Anyway, Isabel accepts and kisses him, and the book reads, she drew herself into him for the kiss. She let it become her whole universe, and knew finally how it felt to be in love with somebody. She's overcome with so much emotion from this man that she just met that she says, I love you after
Do you know
the
what I
kiss.
mean? Like, come on, bro.
To his surprise. Of course she's overcome with so much emotion from kissing a random guy. And now she believes she's in love. Because she's a woman.
Yeah, literally.
I want to say this is indoctrination, but is it? Do you think Isabel felt primal feelings for this man that a woman could feel for a man that is needed? A man who is her means of transportation, survival and sustenance. You know, feelings that your woman has never felt for you. You weak specimen and sad excuse for a man.
Oh,
You didn't think I was going that way,
I
did
didn't really
you?
go that direction. Oh, God. See, I forgot everything.
So
I was
is
gonna say
it
that.
is it indoctrination that a woman can kiss somebody and feel the universe? What did you say?
Yeah, that's got to be
And she let it
indoctrination.
become her whole universe.
That's got to be indoctrination.
Or is it
but
just a primal
it's
feeling?
no. It's playing on a fantasy. It's playing on some very
definitely
primal
just
female fantasies.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
playing on those. So, and you find love stories always do this. Play on very primal female fantasies.
But it was
where,
not needed, and this
the man will
wasn't
be
that
perfect,
story.
and it's like she'll be a virgin, and then like they.
No,
she
the
has,
man will be toxic.
Yeah, the man will be toxic. She'll be a virgin. No, but he'll be perfect. But
Yeah.
he'll be toxic. But she'll be a virgin, and they'll have sex one time, and he'll unlock her whole body. She'll be squirting, and she's a virgin. And it's just like, bro, that's never gonna happen in real life ever. So it's the kind of thing. It plays on very primal fantasies.
She let it become her whole universe and knew finally how it felt to be in love with someone.
Do you know what I mean? That was
Come
way too
on.
much. That was
What are
way
we
too
doing?
much.
What
That
are we
was
doing?
way too much.
It was not necessary.
First of all,
But
what
you
I
know
said
she
was the
had
kiss
that-
was already too early. Now you tell me she said I love you as well. She doubled down. That's tripled down.
Yeah, but this is. I don't know how you feel about this, but Isabel had some problems. You know, she had some
come on.
attachment issues because
I
she
like
had this-
a grey character though, especially when it's like a female character. Okay, they're allowed to be flawed. There's not a problem.
Yeah, no. I feel I don't know if this was purposefully done, but she had her own love interest, and it was another sort of guy that she didn't really know, but she just decided she loved him. So she's got a problem. Maybe she had daddy issues. Maybe she did have daddy issues.
Yeah, they definitely did have daddy issues. That's the one issue you can actually say for certain they did have. But yeah, no, it's in these love stories. It's like the female fantasy has always been this. You know, you love guys that you shouldn't love, and that's basically how they give in to the temptation in their fantasies. You know, loving guys that they probably shouldn't love. And I don't know, what's the male fantasy? How do we, you know, give in to our temptations but live vicariously through the pages? How do we do it? Like, we fantasize about being a hero and saving everybody.
Yeah.
I don't know what.
Yeah.
So why do we fantasize about helping other people? They fantasize about, you know, giving into their dark temptations
And taming the wild.
It's selfish. You know what I mean?
Taming
Yeah,
the wild
that's
man.
literally what it is. Literally what it is. Taming the guy that. Nightingale follows the stories of two sisters, V and Isabel, in the years in which the military of Hitler's Nazi party invaded and occupied France. A very scary time. People wanted to flee, but France was surrounded on all its borders. V lives in Carivaux at Les Jardins with her husband Antoine and her daughter Sophie. As France joins Britain in declaring war on Axis powers, Antoine is conscripted to the front lines, leaving his wife and daughter to fend for themselves with only the bit of money he saved up for them. So he's a good man, you know.
Yeah.
He literally said, yeah, look, I did a couple thousand under there. I said,
Yeah.
oh, 1,000. Meanwhile, Isabel has been expelled from her boarding school and sent to live with her estranged father, who was never quite right after the last war. I think we look at this period of war as being such a scary time because the people who were there are old enough to remember. They also remember the last war, the World War One. And that really wasn't that long ago in perspective. The first time that almost all of Europe and the US were drawn into armed conflict, there was 30 million dead in 4 years. Even the ones who weren't old enough to fight must have remembered what happened to their parents or their grandparents. So there was a feeling of, you know, never again after the First World War ended. And they was like, we've gone too far, never again. And never again came a lot sooner than they actually thought. So this is a very unique, or at least for me, perspective on World War II. Because whenever I've read a World War II book, it's always about some secret Churchill mission, you know, Operation Biden kind of thing, where it's like, yeah, let's get the Inglourious Basterds, for example. I rewatched that the other day.
Bad boy film.
Oh, it was a very good film. Incredible, really. I loved it. But it's, you know, it's all about these undercover, you know, how do we kill Hitler? How do we get this radar? How do we get this? And it's never really focused on the weak and helpless women and children.
Exactly.
And like what they actually had to do and endure to survive. Like if the one book I can see we've read that's actually like that is Tattoo Chivalry. That's the one I can actually say where it's about survival.
That was
rather than
quite
fighting
good
back.
as well, actually.
That was quite good. But again, that was a true story. So it's not fiction, is it?
But that means this isn't fiction then, because this is a true story.
I mean, the war happened. We don't know if this story happened.
No, this story happened.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, I will speak about it in a bit. Anyway.
Oh, okay.
I did my own research.
Fair enough.
About Elizabeth Lawson.
But yeah, I was
That was
really
Elizabeth
interested.
Lawson.
Elizabeth.
But yeah, there we go.
I was trying to remember. Was it Lawson?
Yeah, that's what I was
Confused me, confused me.
thinking. Butterfly effect.
Hacking my memories.
Yeah. So the Nazis stormed France and just took over homes.
Oh, took it.
Isabel's sister, V, had a house that was close to the airport, and a Nazi officer called Captain Beck just pulled up and said, yeah, I'll be staying indefinitely.
He said, I like it.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
And set me out of space for dinner too.
Damn. It's like that.
So Nazis took over France and immediately dismissed all Jews from all public service jobs. There was even a scene where the Nazi officer, Captain Beck, said to V, "Write down the names." Yeah, write down the names.
Oh God,
of the Jews.
Nah, the thing was too much.
I want the Jews, but yeah, funny story actually. So,
The way you just went from the Nazi occupation to funny story. Is it funny?
I don't want to talk about that scene where she had to write down the list of the names.
Yeah.
But funny story actually. I had a German teacher when I was in college, right?
Oh, did you?
And she told me the story of when she was running the concentration camps. No, no.
I was about to say, how old is she? How old is she, bro?
She told me that her child's school was holding a memorial on Remembrance Day, and it was full of Jews, probably about 500 people. So it was basically some form of lecture. There was a stage and somebody was speaking. So her son, who was a couple rows in front of her, needed to go toilet. But because he didn't want anybody to hear what he said, he only went and spoke in German.
Horrible oversight.
And
horrendous oversight.
My teacher said the whole assembly fell silent and turned around to look. And she said she's never been so embarrassed.
Yeah.
So my question is, would you not beat the kid when you get home?
Oh, come on, listen.
But she said he never speaks German. He was young. He's like, I think he was 6, 7 or something like that, and he obviously doesn't really know the implications, but he just didn't want anyone to hear what he said. So it was an innocent
well
sort of thing.
intentioned. It's very well
But the
intentioned.
interesting part about the story is, and I said this to my teacher, I was like, oh, so you Germans feel bad about...
Oh, of course.
And I didn't know that they felt
didn't?
bad. I just thought it was just like, yeah, my grandfather did it, you know.
No,
but they're
there's a lot of
embarrassed.
guilt. There's a lot of guilt there, and it's like there's people have to remember. Like, first of all, they were German Jews. Like, that's the first thing people forget as well. And another thing people forget: the first country Hitler invaded was his own, Germany. This is the first country he actually had to take over.
Yeah.
Because obviously the Nazi Party,
But they had the majority, and they had a coalition.
That's the only way to get voted into power, to have the majority. But then didn't he make himself chancellor or something? Like, imagine Rishi Sunak and them, man, just like, yeah, I'm chancellor now.
Yeah.
And like everyone's like, we're invading other. You might not want war. Like,
I mean, think about it. We voted Boris in, and everyone hated him.
But do you know what I mean? So it must be a similar thing. And here's the funny thing is, Germany had to pay reparations for the last war. So these men are like, let's not start another one. Because they're like, we don't want to, I'm broke. Do you know what I mean? Like, we've had to pay for so much.
That's what caused a lot of the problems.
That is literally what paved the way for Hitler to take power.
Not to get off topic too much. I mean, it is the topic, but, you know. There was a lot of emphasis on being in trouble for writing the names of the Jews. And it was just like, either way, they would have got the list. So it doesn't matter. I mean, there was even a scene where she left out her friend Rachel's name, and then Captain Beck said, "What about your friend? You forgot your friend?" Sort of thing. So he knew the names anyway. He just wanted to see what she would do.
They're not asking questions they don't know the answers to. They're just trying to find the details. Trying to get into the details. The occupation of Paris must have been one of the scariest moments of World War II. The moment that people start to think, what if this crazy Austrian guy actually takes over Europe? Because I don't know if people thought he was actually going to do anything before France, because we have to remember, France has won more battles than probably any nation in Europe, in their history. If we're talking like going into the Napoleonic histories, France won more battles than probably anybody.
Yeah.
So the fact that he's taken France, and like it was light work, and he's like splitting it up and giving this piece to this Nazi and this piece to that
in a week or something like that.
Do you know what I mean? And it's
they gave up. They said, they rolled over for him.
Yeah, of course. But it must have been I feel like that was a bit of a turning point in terms of, because France had just declared war, and they literally said, yeah, we're getting involved. And because Britain did it first, and then France was like, yeah, we're getting involved as well. And then the next thing, Churchill picks up the phone. What do you mean France is taken? I just saw them. Like, what? How already? So we're talking about Nazis got like 4 or 5 countries. They're just piling them up. Yeah. So the amount of fear mongering that must have been going on, and the amount of mass panic that they must have caused from taking France. Britain are thinking, bro, we next, because I know they didn't see them coming, so we might not see them coming. So it definitely was crazy. You know, history really does actually kind of, obviously history doesn't look on Hitler well, as it shouldn't, but it does look at him and like, it does marvel at how quickly, because they were in a point of economic vulnerability. Yeah. So the fact that this guy,
he started stealing resources. He's taking countries and taking their shit.
So do you know what I mean? So the fact that they took over everything, and they're fighting war on like 6 different fronts.
Yeah.
It's kind of impressive.
Did you read the part where they said that the Nazis captured a French communist and he slit his own throat with a piece of glass instead of giving up anybody else's name? It was at this point I realised I could not be a spy. I would not do that.
We thought it was deep when James Bond is doing his cyanide pill. Imagine you see the glass on the floor, you know, it's time.
I'm singing like a canary.
It's time.
You know how easy I'd be giving up man them. I'd be telling them extra shit that they didn't need to know.
Didn't even need to know.
I'd be like,
give him my social security number.
And he's cheating on his mission. I got proof.
Literally, I'd give him his social security number. You're right. What about when they put the chair down, like in Casino Royale, they start cutting the thing out, cutting the seat out.
But yeah, being James Bond, fuck that.
Yeah, no, it's not.
I can't swallow pills. I couldn't even take the cyanide pill.
I can't take
Can I have a glass of water?
Can I crush it up? You got the gummies.
Is it M from James Bond?
Yeah.
He'd have to give me cyanide pill in Calpol form, mate. I need liquid something.
I need something I can drink.
But yeah.
There's no way. Man, break the tooth? What?
I couldn't mean. Man said slit the throat with a piece of glass.
And then bleed out. You forgot about that part. Bleeding out part. I wouldn't even be able to do the movement. We're talking about then bleed out and choke to death.
I'd be like, nah.
That's what How bad could it actually be?
It's interesting that we've evolved to be able to kill ourselves. That doesn't make any sense though from an evolutionary standpoint, does it?
It doesn't, but at the same time, like cells can commit self-destruction. Do you know what I mean? So it kind of does. Cells can self-destruct just because, you know, what do they say? Like mice kill themselves or whatever? Is it mice that he was talking about? Was it?
That was,
what was it?
Oh, you're talking about abortion.
Yeah, sorry.
That's the
Yeah,
bullshit.
sorry, correct.
But that's
yeah.
different.
That is different.
That's
but
different.
yeah, so it's literally self-destruct. So it kind of does make sense from. I don't know if it makes sense, but history. I mean, bodies do it. We do it. Do you know what I mean? So I don't know if it makes any sense.
So what did we
but
learn?
we're not the only ones who do it as well. So that's how we know
What do you
that
mean?
it makes sense on some. Like I said, cells can self-destruct. So
Oh, I thought you were going
Everyone
to say
else can
animals
do it.
take suicide. I was going to say, really?
Well, they definitely don't slit their throats to keep information
piece of
secret.
glass, yeah.
You know, to keep information secret to stop other people from getting their hands on it. But yeah, listen, here's what it is, Ruff. Data is sensitive. Do your duty to your for the. You know,
I'm singing. I'm sorry.
Vive la France.
I am singing.
Vive la France.
Cut in my throat.
Yeah, I would have literally been like, give me one of them.
I could do it with a gun. I could shoot myself.
Yeah.
But anything else, not
That's
happening.
peak. So you got to smash your head on the wall or whatever. If you've got no weapons, it is what it is.
No. But yeah, go on.
Isabel encounters Gaetan, an escaped convict, as she flees Paris, and it astounds me how romance stories dominate the literary sector with such vigour. One would think that stories about love and the heart speak to us from their creativity and their innovation, but it's the opposite. They're so formula. They all incorporate the same elements that play on the rapey female fantasy where she meets a dangerous man who she should absolutely not trust and decides to trust anyway. The two proceed to play an entertaining will he rape me, won't he rape me cat and mouse game for the runtime of the story, whereupon the bad man will decide that she makes him want to be good. For whatever reason, the man being capable and somewhat inclined to raping her seems to be essential to the chemistry. Case in point, Tamlin and Feyre. Fuck's going on? Zayden and Violet.
Yeah.
Like, what's her name? And Santanhel from The Familiar. Like, they just love it. The toxic, abusive man that just kills niggas for a living. They love it. They can't get enough of it. Like, what is that about? Every red flag in the world is here. He's a random man that was cooking rabbits or whatever that she found in the forest. She's like, I love you. Within like a day.
And this was after he said, I could have you in my bed.
He said, I could have you if I wanted you. Then he said, let's seal it with a kiss. He just started some bunch of rapey shit that should make you want to run. So this is why I say it's not really.
But it does make sense, though, to be fair, doesn't it? I mean, the reason that why women fantasize about taming the man.
That makes sense.
It's like, you know, it means you're competent. If you can tame danger, it means you're competent.
Not only competent isn't even the word, it means you're special. It means you're not like other girls. That's literally exactly word for word what it means. So for example, I saw this post on Twitter where this woman said, pretty girls deserve a man that's rude to everyone else but soft for me, you know, busy for everyone else but has time for me. That's just really what they want. They want to feel special, essentially. So if you got a man that's nice to everybody and nice to you, you don't feel special. That's who he is. He's nice. So that's why the concept of nice guys finishing last exists. But if you're like rude to everybody, some guy that's rude to everybody, you know, ain't got time for no one, never wants to hang out, but he wants to hang out with you all the time, you would feel special. Yeah. So that's kind of where it comes from. So it makes sense, but at the same time, you're stupid because people like that don't exist.
Yeah.
If they're rude, they're rude. That's it.
So when they say nice guys finish last, is that a sexual thing?
I hope. Well, boy, it could be. We might have misunderstood it because I recently worked out. I misunderstood tall, dark, and handsome. I thought that meant black.
So what does it mean?
It means dark haired.
Oh.
Like a tall, white, dark haired man, like a brunette man, so to speak.
Oh.
Do you know what I mean? Genuinely thought it meant black.
So why does it not?
Huh?
Why does it not? You asked me, you said, like, I asked you something in Chinese.
No.
So who said it doesn't, is what I'm asking.
But I just saw some stuff online where it was literally just like, apparently I'm the only, loads of people were like, when you see loads of people agreeing on like a figure, I'm the only one saying that means
that must be wrong.
That means like law of probability says I'm probably mistaken here, but I mean, why would I think he's dark haired? Okay,
so did you see that plot twist? You know, the father was in on the resistance.
Yeah.
So he had served in World War One. Did you see the plot twist coming? Did you see that?
I mean, sort of.
Really, you knew he was
really,
in on it?
Not really, but I just thought he was going to be important because he
Really?
I
didn't see it. I was blind to it.
Look, I didn't think he was going to be. No, I didn't see it coming. Let's just say that. It's fair to say.
But you thought he was going to be something in the
I thought he was going to be something because he just came up too many times for him to be. We just mentioned it, Dad. Do you know what I mean? So like they was talking about how like he abused his family or whatever when he's come back from the war. Cool. Then we talked about how he kicked his daughter out. Cool. Then she's talking about how she wants her dad to see her or whatever.
I thought it was just trauma. I thought it was just character building. But yeah, anyway, so he had served
the wrong formula and got around or something.
He served in World War One, or the Great War, as it's called, and he was traumatized by the fighting and also by the loss of his wife. So that drove him to become an alcoholic, self-medication.
I didn't need that kind of
Before her dad told her that he was part of the resistance, Isabel looked at him like he was a piece of shit. A sad excuse for a man. Women judge the hardest, you know.
100% they right.
Even if he wasn't part of the resistance, remember he'd fought in the trenches in World War One, and she didn't give a fuck about any of that. She was just like, "Oh, father, you were never a father to us."
100%.
You know, he was defending the country. He was never
exactly.
a father. So women, they just don't give it.
It's really, we see it all the time in all of these human fantasies. We always see it, you know. Like, they have all the respect for the abusive guy that beats them and shouts at them, is horrible to them and rapes them. They love him, but their dad, you know, who does things for them, like A Court of Thorns and Roses, like Feyre's dad, who got battered and got his legs shattered or whatever, and like he couldn't walk. She started looking at him like, "You're not a man." I was like, "He got his legs shattered." Exactly. Like what? The kiss between Isabel and Gaetan was so early. They kissed as a sort of to battle kind of moment, which is what I thought it was going to be like. Yeah. And then Isabel immediately decides she loves this guy that she met yesterday. She actually said the word. She actually said the L word. She actually said, like, "I love you" out loud. Like, it wasn't even like an intrusive thought she had. She said, "I love you" out loud. And this guy dipped like the morning after. I said, fair play. You learned. What did we learn?
I missed that being a story. I think he just cut and left.
Yeah, he literally just cut.
Yeah, he was
so
like,
I said, "What did we learn?" We learned.
He was thinking, I don't need no babies.
Too eager. The thrills in the chase, not in the capture. And
I've
got it already. Yeah, they botched it. I said, "You've botched this supposed love story already."
I want to say that I do like the addition of the German character, Captain Beck, that is living with Isabel's sister, named V. He seems a bit pointless and unrealistic to the actual story, but because of the constant support, it at least shows us that not all Nazis were evil. So
I don't know if I believe any 100% of any faction have ever been 100% evil. Like, do you know how unlikely that is actually to happen? Like, 100% of any kind of group or faction or political party,
terrorists,
100% evil. Like, even them
terrorists.
No,
they
but
gotta be
define terrorists. Like, one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. Do you know what I mean? Like, Martin Luther King was a terrorist. Like, Muhammad Ali got put in prison for not going to the war. He was a terrorist, or he was un-American. These kinds of things. So it really is all just a perspective. Like, if you're growing up in Germany and, like, you know, you're fighting age, they're like, "Bro, we've declared war on 6 countries. You're going."
I was gonna say, I was gonna use the group paedophiles and watch you cancel yourself by defending it.
But that's the funniest thing is a paedophile someone that is attracted to minors, or is a paedophile somebody that engages in sexual activity with minors?
Well, the actual dictionary definition is somebody who is attracted.
You did some self-research, was it?
No, I've cancelled myself.
Yeah, no, right.
But the dictionary definition of a paedophile is someone who is attracted to prepubescent. So you don't actually have to act.
That is the funniest thing. That is not illegal because it's not an action.
But yeah, let's move on. Let's move on.
But that's the funniest thing. There's a whole page on, like, I think it's the police website, and it's like what you should be doing if you experience attraction to minors, and obviously it's not blow your brains out or whatever. But it's like it's actually accepted. That's not a crime. It's a crime to act on it. Yeah. So you can't get arrested for being attracted to children. Do you know what I mean? Because first of all, how would they tell?
All right,
do you know what I mean?
Let's move on because I feel like this is going to be a long video anyway.
Might be.
Yeah, how many? You got loads.
I've got them in 2 documents. I can't even tell.
You got that many?
No. It's just
because I don't need to know how many different. I haven't got too much.
I actually didn't number them. I forgot this time.
It doesn't matter. We'll just keep going. See what happens.
All right, should I go?
Go on then.
Isabel and V are reunited in their childhood home, and I'm only really now understanding that they're sisters. Like, I've gone back and edited my points. So that's why you know your sisters.
But exactly. Yes,
at this point, I was like, "Oh, okay, so this is where this is going." We're finally getting our teeth into the plot. Sisters during Hitler's chokehold of Europe. All V wants to do is survive the war and keep her daughter Sophie safe until her husband Antoine returns. Isabel, however, wants to fight in some way, even though the idea of women fighting is a foreign one. This ain't one of them feminist books, is it? That's what I was thinking. But at the same time, women fighting in the wars is not a new concept. They were doing it back then. Obviously, it was a very, very, very small number compared to the amount of men that were fighting, and they got obliterated.
It's not funny.
But yeah, they was annihilated in every way, shape, or form, like decimated utterly. But
so were the men.
So were the men. Like there was 60 million deaths. Like everyone got obliterated. So, but look, it is what it is. Like, what would we say about standing up for the country? Like, hats off to them. Large up the ladies. But yeah, it was. I wasn't sure how I felt about Was it on purpose that they had the contrasting sister? So Isabel obviously is a freedom fighter.
I don't know, but it kind of ties into my next point.
Yeah.
I didn't understand the point of V. Halfway through the book, her story is finally warming up. About how complicated her life is, how she's fallen in love with the German who's effectively playing the part of a husband in a sexless marriage. But because he was helping her in multiple ways, food, just looking after her genuinely. But yeah, I don't understand. Oh yeah, that part of the story isn't true. It's two different stories and they've been stitched together. So the woman isn't actually. I think have I missed the part then because I was supposed to talk about that. Yeah, I missed the part. I'll just say. So Isabel starts sneaking out the downed British pilots across the mountains of Nazi-occupied France and into Spain. They'd walk for around 8 hours, sometimes walking all through the night. And this is a true story based on a woman called Andre Dijon. I probably butchered that name. Disclaimer alert.
I know, right? I was about to
Somebody in the comments told me off last week for promoting a Western agenda because I mispronounced an Arabic name.
Harsh.
And the fact that I'm spreading ignorance and misinformation. This is why we don't like them Muslims. They're all extremists, isn't it? Probably wants to blow me up.
Alright.
Is that too much?
We'll keep that.
But yeah, I didn't understand the point of it. So they could have got done away with her story, but it started getting good though. Her story started.
Yeah, no, 100%. Hers was just a slow burn. So I wouldn't say I didn't understand the point of her. I would just say it was.
No, but in the beginning, I didn't understand. I was like, why are we here?
You understand?
But you know what?
Like,
no. I meant up until halfway.
Yeah,
I didn't know what we were reading. But do you know what? It was. I suppose it was supposed to just convey what was happening in terms of life in France.
Yeah, which is really the selling point of this book for me, anyways.
Yeah,
that's like you could read 1,000 World War II books about 1,000 World War II missions, and you could read about Russian paratroopers or Russian tank destroyers or whatever. You can watch Fury, you can watch Inglourious Bastards, but for me at least, it's the first time where I'm actually seeing life in France in like Nazi occupied territory where you're just living like there's no plan. You're just living.
That means there's books from the German side about what happened.
I'll be interested to read those as well. I'd be interested to read those as well, 100%, because like I said, it wasn't all just
Poland ones.
We're the bad guys, and then we're invading the good guys, and we're laughing for the whole war, whatever. I'm pretty sure it's not as black and white as all that. In 1940. 1 month after war declared, the French government declared that the war is over. Many of the French citizens begin to talk in celebration, thinking that the military might of Le Bleu has prospered over Hitler as it has done so many times in the past. During an announcement by the government, however, V and Isabel hear the word they never thought they would hear associated with France: surrender. France hasn't won, it has fallen, and the streets of Paris are filled with tanks and soldiers, the sky filled with planes, the Eiffel Tower has a swastika on it. These man, overnight, they wrapped it up and locked it off. They said it's done. History has often marvelled at how the Nazis managed to subjugate not only France, but Netherlands, Belgium and Luxembourg inside 6 weeks, as well as forcing 300,000 British and Allied troops to run out of Dunkirk. Not, leave, run. They run them out of Dunkirk. So it's a kind of thing, 6 weeks is crazy. That's a country every 2 weeks. Like, you're bopping a country every single 2 weeks. 20 years ago, you was broke. Your whole country was broke. Your economy was finished. Like, the francs was finished. Oh, I'm sorry, German marks was finished. So it's insane.
Surrendered.
Do you know what I mean? Come on, man. The Axis powers controlled more European landmass than any one nation apart from the Soviet Union, and those who didn't run from France during the invasion were forced to stay and just live under German rule. So they split the country into 2 parts, and then they had one half that was controlled by like a Nazi governor or whatever, and that was like the northern part where Paris and like all the big cities are. And then there was another part of France called Vichy France, and it was headquartered in Vichy, which is literally why it was called that, and it was basically the same thing. It was run by a Frenchman, but he's being talked to by the Nazis, so they had the whole thing locked up, and all the bits that connected to mainland Europe, English Channel, that was all the Nazis bit. So they effectively cut France off from the rest of Europe, so there was like, food's coming in, we're controlling where it's going. English troops, you can't come across this channel no more. So English Channel, English Channel no more, that's Nazi Channel. So this is why they had everybody so scared, because they're literally just encroaching onto people's territory, encroaching.
But you had to take France quick, because if the soldiers, if the British soldiers got over there, safe passage and whatnot. Because you know how much soldiers we lost on D-Day?
Yeah, oh, Jesus Christ.
It's not even funny, but we lost a lot.
Serious.
Those soldiers could have, if they made it over,
they would have made a difference. But do you know what the funniest thing is? It's not even that, because that is literally what killed Germany in World War One. Like, they didn't take France quickly enough, and they found themselves like caught between like the approaching armies. Because you forgot, like, we're worried about the British. Who's behind us? Russia. Yeah. Like, do you know what I mean? So you'll very quickly, Germany's in the middle. So you'll very quickly catch yourself like caught between like 3 or 4 different armies, and like even in countries like Netherlands and things like that, they got soldiers, right?
To be fair, they just none of the soldiers should have made it across D-Day. None of them, because
really,
in World War One, in World War One, they were fighting in the trenches and they didn't move more than 100 meters, right? That's what they said. In the whole 4 years, they didn't move more than 100 meters.
That's insane.
So how is it that they lost D-Day? Because you got the water. You got the water. All you got to do is spray and pray.
Spray and pray.
That's all you got to
have
do.
to pray. They got to pray. We got to spray.
Spray and pray.
Exactly, spray. Yeah, but what I think it was probably a little bit more complicated. Obviously, there's explosives going off on the beach. There's smoke. You know, it's loud. You can't hear everything. You can't see everything.
Too many of them.
There's people leopard crawling up the beach and things like that.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
No one should have even made it to the beach.
Nobody should have made
but
it to the beach.
But yeah, we should move on.
And obviously, it was 5. Sorry, it was 5 points. It was 5 different points they landed at as well. It wasn't even just one.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I got all my information from watching Saving Private Ryan.
Of course. Saving Private Ryan, Call of Duty. You talking about Call of Duty story?
Have you watched Saving Private Ryan?
I've watched some of it. I haven't watched it in order.
You watched the scenes?
No, but that's the funniest thing. Sometimes I've seen a whole movie, but I haven't seen it in the right order.
Yeah, because you're weird.
Do you know what I mean? No, because like when you used to turn on Film 4, like where it is where it is. You can't rewind that.
Fair enough. Okay, this book is fantastic. How did the author make us care about a Nazi and then take him away from us? So V effectively loved him, and she was the one that killed him.
Oh yeah.
So not only is she fucked moving forwards in terms of food, but what's going to happen when the Germans come looking for their man? And as Captain Beck died, there was no, how could you? You know, that's what I wanted him to say. How could you? You know, I did so much for you, V, or whatnot.
Which is true.
But ultimately, I think killing off Captain Beck was the wrong move. I think a sneaky romance could have been good for the book. Once they were both in love, we could have seen how far V would have been able to use Captain Beck to help the Jewish children or whatnot.
It would have been good for V as well.
Yeah, and then when her husband came home, we could have experienced the value of decision of which man she'd pick.
Yeah,
but
that's a good point, actually.
Yeah, V could have been a lot more angry at her sister for that, because she had her life good, you know.
Patterned, and that's as patterned as you can get in Nazi.
And then obviously the new guy come in, and effectively she got raped because of it. So it's her sister's fault in some ways.
Straight away. But this is what I'm saying. Like, is Isabel a freedom fighter? Is she a terrorist? Because it sounds like she's spreading terror. Like, what's it called? The state of Nazi Germany, that's a Nazi state. Do you know what I mean? And she's like spreading propaganda. It started with pamphlets, handing around anti-Nazi pamphlets or whatever. Now she's sneaking like enemies of the state into. That sounds like a terrorist to me. Because if you did that in England, that's what they call you.
Oh yeah.
So it's really all a point of view. It's a perspective, and it's like Isabel was very, very young and idealistic. Idealistic, and she was doing these things without really thinking about them. She knew she wanted to do something. She really wasn't sure what that something was. Just like she wasn't sure how she felt about Gaetan. She's not sure about anything. She's just acting first and like asking questions later, and really got her sister into a whole world
and also the futility of it, because the guy died. He didn't even make it.
100%. She just wants to do something to make herself feel like fulfill the destiny that you've always felt like you should. What is that? You be realistic. You get people killed. Yeah. You're getting your own sister killed out here. Whatever foolishness you got to do, kill. Like, imagine you found out like I was just part of like some crazy radicalist group and I was hiding niggas in your house as well. You literally be like, whatever you do, but don't hide these men in my house or like in the back of my car or whatever. It is ridiculous.
I've got 4 more.
I got about the same, to be fair. This is supposed to be way further back. The German occupation of Paris begins, and V learns that she must billet her home to Wehrmacht and SS officers. Isabel is outraged by this and decides to join a French resistance group, distributing propaganda in the form of anti-Nazi pamphlets around the town. Meanwhile, the Wehrmacht officer who is making use of V's home, Beck, grows fond of V. He convinces her to give him a list of the Jewish people in her community, including her best friend Rachel. Soon after, Rachel and all the other people on the list are fired from their jobs. So she really should have known, like, V really should have known, like, what the score is. Like, man's asking for, like, the details. Like, Nazi officers pulled up to her house, he's just asking for details on like the Jews in the community or whatever. But to be fair, V and Isabel opposite sides of the same coin, because they are like, V doesn't really see the futility of that was a futile exercise in futility as well. Resisting that would have been an exercise in futility as well, like you said.
No, definitely.
Because he even said like, what about Rachel?
Yeah.
Like, did you think I forgot? So it was all.
There was some actually heartfelt scenes in this book, you know, like when Rachel's child got shot up.
Yeah.
And it was just so sudden, and she just had to leave the dead body.
It's done.
And you know, it was just.
It's just done.
Isabel, who was the famous Nightingale, who could sneak British soldiers out of Nazi-occupied France, ultimately ended up getting caught by the Nazis. She was tortured for 2 days. Her father, upon hearing this news, tried to save her life by giving up his own and admitting to being the Nightingale.
Yeah.
He was subsequently executed in front of his daughter's eyes via hanging. There are many ways I would not want to be killed, but hanging is not one of them. Final bit of choking on the way out, naughty. But the father's death scene was good, but an opportunity was missed. Isabel and her father could have gotten really close, since they had finally had something in common, being the fact that they were both in the resistance, and then we could have felt his death more. But maybe I'm just being picky, because it was quite good. You know, she was in the cell, she was looked out, she saw her father being taken across the square, and, you know... and
father ain't done shit for you, huh?
Yeah,
Jesus Christ.
exactly.
Do you know what I mean? And like I said, we see this all the time. Remember we read Nero? And that woman, what's her name? Agrippina, was in the house, and her house ran up in her house, and like her husband, who was general or whatever, started, you go here, like whatever. Saved everybody in the house, her children, everybody. And then after, she was like, how dare you come on, give orders in my house. He even was like, what? Like, did I just repeat, please? Yeah, it's ridiculous, but what's it gone? Yeah, when an Allied pilot is shot down over Caraveau, Isabel rescues the pilot and hides him under V's barn. While looking for the pilot, Beck finds and shoots Isabel. V kills Beck to save Isabel's life. Gaetan smuggles the wounded Isabel to safety, and they finally become lovers after years of desiring each other. I really wasn't sure how I felt about like I said, from the moment when Isabel kissed Gaetan, I was like, I love you. Their love story was botched for me from that moment onwards, and they didn't really repair it. Because... Yeah,
but that was a different guy though, wasn't it?
No, that was the same guy.
It was all the same guy from the very beginning.
From the same guy.
Oh, okay.
It was the same guy. To be fair, because I found, like, I didn't have the transcript of it, but I found, like, some reviews of it, and because I can tell, because I can see the names written down, it makes things a bit more clear when you know what their names are, as opposed to when you listen to audiobook, sometimes you don't even know how to spell the name versus say it.
Are you trying to dig at me?
No, I'm saying, like, there's a reason why I read,
So did you listen to any of this book?
No, I listened to all of it. But I'm just saying, I saw some reviews and people would write the names down, and maybe they read it.
Did you use my account? Did you use my account?
No, I use mine.
Oh, okay.
But there's some people who, because this book came out in 2015, so there's some people who read the paperback copy, so people on Reddit were talking about it, whatever, they might have had an actual copy of it. So it definitely helps when you can see the names written down or whatever. But yeah, I wasn't sure how I felt about his character whatsoever, or whether Isabel even really needed, because that would have been a much stronger feminist statement. I think if she just didn't have a man at all.
Yeah, I don't know what that was about. I don't think it was necessary, and also I think that a more interesting story would have been more about her sneaking the soldiers and because the story wasn't really much about that. It was actually more about Captain Beck, and it was more... So, I don't know who was the main character, because, as I said, there wasn't really actually much emphasis on her smuggling soldiers. That happened once or twice or whatnot.
I think they was trying to stay away from that.
Jewish children and
whatnot.
Because
I think they was trying to stay away from that whole thing, because now this is now a World War II Allied operation now, which is exactly what, like, we've had those before. Yeah. And this is what the book wasn't supposed to be, or at least I think anyways. So they probably want to stay away from the whole, sneaking allies in and out. This is Henderson's boys. Do you know what I mean? Like, we've just turned this into a whole... Even when it was like MI9, what did they say about MI9? And like, MI9 was mentioned in it or something. I saw something about MI9 anyways. And I think I didn't know MI9 was a real thing.
Oh yeah, they were giving her money.
Yeah, I didn't know that was a real thing. Apparently it actually was. MI9 was active in World War II. And I don't think it exists anymore. Not that we would know if it did.
I was Googling not too long ago about what different ones do. But yeah, I've forgotten. So anyway, Isabel was sent to a concentration camp for her punishment. This was the author's way of allowing us to experience the brutality of the Nazi concentration camps, and I believe she did a good job. In the concentration camp, Isabel was stripped naked and shaved bald everywhere, like a woman should. But yeah, she was then given filthy clothes to wear, including dirty, shit-stained men's boxers. After weeks of working, coupled with poor nutrition, she caught various illnesses such as typhus. And she was on the brink of death. Kristen Hanna, the author, did a great job of allowing me to feel the inhumane treatment that Jews experienced in the concentration camps, with statements like, they marched for 2 days and they'd collapse on the floor and huddle for warmth at night times. And at least in these temperatures, the urine in the barrel would freeze and it wouldn't be sloshing all over the place as they passed it around.
That's the silver lining. Wow.
You see what I'm saying?
Wow.
As she was being dragged, all she could think about is don't lose your shoes, as she would definitely get frostbite and die.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, like, we don't think about, obviously we know, but we don't think about what shoes actually do for your life, like, for your quality of life, like, simple shoes. Like, we're not talking about J's, I'm talking about shoes, like, the most broke-up shoes you can imagine, but it's the difference between life or death, because we're talking about frostbite. You step on a nail, you're done. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You step on a nail, goes in your foot, you're done. It's getting infected.
Yeah.
And you're going to die. So it's genuinely the difference between...
Dr. Joseph, he's gonna
he'll fix you up nice.
You take the foot off.
He might take more off, but in genuine, like, it's the difference between life and death, and it's even in when I was reading Tattooish of Auschwitz, like, Boots was a currency or whatever. I swear it was trading boots or whatever. He was trying to buy boots.
One of the inmates or prisoners or whatever, Jews, died, and within 2 seconds the boots were gone.
Yeah, took his J's.
They took
his J's, man.
I've got one more. Actually.
I think I actually did my last one. I was about to read it again. I was about to read the same one again.
Alright, so I'll go, yeah?
Yeah, go on.
The goodbye Daniel scene was quite good, wasn't it? For context, we had V, who had given up so much, including her pussy, to keep Daniel. But after the war, the Red Cross wanted to take him to reunite him with his Jewish family in America. So as I said before, Daniel was the son of V's Jewish friend, who was since killed in concentration camps.
She renamed him Daniel, innit?
So she renamed him Daniel and took him on as her own son to pretend that he's not Jew. He's Jewish. Daniel was so young that he believed V was his real mother. So the question is, was it the right decision for Daniel to go and be with his real extended family in the USA? They said it's what Rachel, his mother, would have wanted.
That is a very dangerous stuff. That's a very dangerous thing to say, to just put out there into the wind. It's what he would have wanted. Anyone can say that, really and truly. And obviously there's levels to it, but...
His point was the Jewish community's been destroyed so much because of what Hitler's done, and we need to reunite to preserve our thing. So, do you think that was the right decision?
I mean, did he even know anything about any Jew? Like, he didn't have a single clue of his identity before. What is he gonna really contribute to that? They're gonna bring much more to him in terms of being Jewish than he can bring to them. It's not like...
What are you talking about?
Because they're talking about we need to preserve our community, bring in our knowledge and reconsolidate our resources. He's got no knowledge, no resources, nothing, no personality.
They want to preserve the Jewish way of life. So if Daniel goes to live with a Jewish family, he will effectively become a Jew, and he will probably go marry a Jew, and they're going to preserve their thingy. Whereas if he's with her...
It's that's the only
they're
reason.
Both understandable. But then again, Rachel wanted Daniel for her own selfish reasons. So... You
mean V, sorry.
Yeah, V.
V.
I was wondering why you didn't know what the fuck I was on about.
Yeah, I was thinking.
So V wanted Daniel for her own selfish reasons. So it's
she
like
definitely did. That's actually a good way of looking at it.
But what's best for Daniel?
What do you think's best for Daniel?
I would have said staying with Rachel, with V.
With
V. Because it's not best for him to follow his Jewish... That's best for the Jews.
Yeah.
But what's best for him, he's already gone through enough trauma. He's lost his mother, and then now he's with this one.
He's got to lose another mother.
Now he's got to lose another mother just for the benefit of maybe marrying a Jewish girl.
Do you know what I mean?
So I don't know.
He wants to do that, I reckon. But in all seriousness, I probably have to agree, to be fair. Staying with Rachel's probably the best one. Best for her as well.
Yeah.
So, do you know what I mean? Because now they're both losing out.
Yeah. But yeah, all in all,
She
that
did
was
put
quite
in. She did
heartfelt
not only
scene.
she did give
gave
up everything,
a
including the
fanny for
box.
that.
Yeah, she gave her the box for that, and she put the work in to actually like take care of him as well.
Yeah, it saved his life and everything.
Definitely. Yeah, it was very. I really enjoyed this book, anyways.
Yeah,
I enjoyed
it was quite good.
despite the criticisms I had. But I always have criticisms, so I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's be something wrong if there was no criticism.
Yeah, that's true. Or something very, very right. Excellent, in fact. 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5.
Is that it?
3 out of 5. Well, look, when we're talking 4 out of 5, 4 out of 5 means nearly perfect. Do you know what I mean?
I would have said 4. I would have said at least 4.
4 means nearly perfect.
I would have said at least 4. What was wrong with it?
Well, like we said, the criticisms that we had, like the botched love story between Isabel and Gaetan.
Yeah, but
that doesn't slow burn.
But the love interest or the botched love interest, as you call it, why is it botched? Because it's weird.
No, because first of all, they made a lot of shit happen too fast, too furious. And then I was literally just like, what we do? She's a freedom fighter. We don't even need. She's supposed to be one of them liberated women, burn the bra, you know.
See, okay, put it this way. I don't believe you can mark a book down. Because what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to give a generic rating to the book. So I don't believe you should mark a book down because they did something you don't like. I think they should mark it down for a mistake. Does that make sense?
Well, you can have a book with no mistakes.
But I'm not saying. I'm not
wholeheartedly disagree.
I'm not
I
saying
mark shit down if I don't like it.
But I'm not saying this book had no mistakes.
Yeah,
because I think it was a mistake to kill off Captain Beck.
Yeah, right. You did say that, and just a good point to be fair.
And it was a mistake to not make this father and the son, to make the father and Isabel be super close, and then to watch that.
Yeah, and to get emotional payoff. But
yeah, so there was some mistakes, but to say, this love story was
some missed tap-ins.
Yeah, that was a tap-in.
Missed tap-ins. I personally, and this is the way I've always been operating. I mark shit down if I don't like it. So, like I said, 4 years earlier, mark down. Do you know what I mean? And then it goes from there. But whether that, for better or for worse, whether that's fair or not fair, that is how I've been operating since we even started doing this. But
well, you're fired.
What, next week you're just sitting in the middle. Pause this video right now.
I'll be sitting in the middle of the chairs. Both the mics.
Yeah, 100%. Then that guy can stop complaining about chairs, isn't it? Jesus Christ.
I know,
what's wrong with sitting on half of if it was together, would that be any different, really?
Exactly. Bit laughter though, isn't it?
3 out of 5 is more than fair. That's more than fair. More than fair.
No, so Tender is the Flesh was 2 out of stars.
Listen, 3 out of 5 is 60%. That's more than
Tender
fair.
of the Flesh was 2 out of stars.
Was it? Should have been 1. Should have been 1.
No, man. This was a 4-star at least.
Fine. The star method, we've just proved how flawed it actually is. This
that doesn't prove it's flawed.
It proves it's flawed. Because Tender is the Flesh is 2 stars. This is 4 stars. Well, only 2 more stars on Tender's Foolishness. Tender's Flesh should be 0.
It's double as good. It's twice as nice. No, that's good. 4 stars. Thrice. 4 stars. I'd go 4 stars. It's got to be one of the best non-fiction books. Sorry, fiction books that we read. And 3 is just alright. 3 stars is alright.
Is that what actually
Do you want to go to a 3-star restaurant or you want to go to a 5-star
I'm not going to lie. I mean, obviously... Come on, what kind of question is that? That doesn't mean 3 is alright just because 5 is better.
3 is basically...
5 is obviously better.
No, I understand that. But 3...
Do you? Because the question you just asked me, I feel like you're trying to slip one by me there.
I wouldn't eat from a 3-star restaurant.
You wouldn't eat from a 3-star restaurant?
They probably... don't wash their hands.
What do you mean?
3 stars.
There's not 1 star, 3 stars. So if you go to a restaurant, they say the health rating is 3 out of 5 stars. The health rating is 3 out of 5 stars. Like I said, that's 60%.
Would you let a barber who's 3 out of 10? No, sorry.
Okay.
No, 3 stars out of 5 cut your hair.
What barber goes on a star rating? Come on.
I don't know.
So I don't know what a 3-star barber is like. We have to find
someone
with
an actual 3-star fucking book is, don't we?
Yeah.
But yeah, listen, we've been here long enough, and we've still got another video. So we're gonna end on a quote.
We've got another video next week.
Yeah, we've got another video next week that we're gonna end on a quote with.
Yeah.
Till next time.
Till next time.